Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 15 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. Well, today, Franchise Interviews is celebrating our 15-year anniversary. And first, we're meeting with distinguished members of the Purdue University Global Collegiate Entrepreneurs to discuss the movie called The Founder, the story of Ray Kroc, a salesman who turned two brothers' innovative fast food eatery, McDonald's, into the biggest restaurant business in the world with a combination of ambition, persistence, and ruthlessness. In part two, we're going to play a clip of our interview with Maureen Recalde, the winner of the Voice of McDonald. And Maureen discusses her experiences as the winner of the Voice of McDonald's and shares her story of her mom who worked with McDonald's for over 40 years and today is now an owner and operator of two McDonald's. And then in part three, we're going to play a clip from our Great Quotes in Franchising podcast with the great Michael Gerber. That's coming right up on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 15 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. Well, today, Franchise Interviews is celebrating our 15-year anniversary, and today we're going to start our show discussing the topic or the movie called The Founder. Let's go right into our interview. Today, we're talking about a great movie. It's become one of my favorite movies, and that movie is called The Founder, and it's the story of Ray Kroc, and Ray Kroc is a salesman who turned two brothers' innovative fast food eatery, McDonald's, into the biggest restaurant business in the world with a combination of ambition, persistence, and ruthlessness. And one of our tasks that I mentioned to the group was I said, what are three takeaways from the movie. And Samantha, I'll start with you. I know it was probably, as you said earlier, there's probably a lot of them. But if you had to list your top three, what did you get from the movie?
One of the first things I got from it is that the McDonald's brothers themselves really missed out on an opportunity to create their own wealth because they were too set in their ways and they didn't want to adapt and change.
Yes.
And,
yes.
In order to keep your business moving and growing, you have to be able to adapt and be flexible and change with the times as things come in and out. Yeah.
It's powerful, Samantha, what you just said, because it's funny. I started reading the Walt Disney book that I kind of recommended to the group. It's a little bit slow. I'm listening to the audio version of it, but he said, Walt Disney said something that you just mentioned about the McDonald brothers, and a gentleman named Michael Gerber mentioned it to me on my podcast. He said that most businesses fail not because they think too big, but because they think too small. Right? Yeah, and as it's like that was kind of like their mindset, right? It was they were kind of I mean you can't take anything away from them. They created this amazing system that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for them. But it seemed like they were content, right, with like just San Bernardino, and that was it.
And they had that philosophy, and that I think that was very common during that time was if it's not broke, don't fix it. Yes,
exactly. It was safe, wasn't it? I think it was a safe mindset, and there was probably a couple different reasons that they were that way. But I thought that was interesting. I think that's a great takeaway, Samantha, because I got that one as well. What else, Samantha? Did you have anything else that you kind of took away from the movie?
Then I think the flip side of that, Kroc's determination and vision were admirable because he failed plenty of times in various other ventures before this, but he never gave up. He kept persisting. Right. And he was able to say what you will with tactics, but he was able to see how he could make what the McDonald's brothers had started and weren't willing to change and do the changes to make it bigger. Yeah, and take it to another level, and that's exactly what he did, I mean, it really was amazing. What inspires me is that I think Ray Kroc was, I don't know if they mentioned his age, I think they did mention his age in the movie. I said he was in his 50s, right? I think he was kind of, right, he was like in his young 50s maybe. But that's inspiring, isn't it? I mean, he really didn't make it until his 50s, and I guess what we're saying also is to never give up, Colonel Sanders was another example of that. I'm sure both of you know, the Kentucky Fried Chicken, as I used to know it as when I was a kid, and I guess some people call it KFC today. But, I mean, Colonel Sanders, he really didn't make a big impact until I think he was when he started collecting his first Social Security check, and he realized that he couldn't live on that little amount of money on a monthly basis. So he comes up with this idea for Kentucky Fried Chicken. And the story goes is that he pitched the idea. They said it was around 1,000. It was a little over 1,000 people. And so he got 1,000 no's. And could you imagine like getting the response no 1,000 times? You know what I mean? It's just, I think most people probably would have quit, but he didn't. He found somebody that was willing to franchise the KFC concept, and then he got his first and his second and his third, and the rest is history. So it's kind of inspirational for people. I think a lot of times people think they're too old, you know what I mean, to accomplish something, and I would say you're never too old, right? And I think that's a great takeaway, Samantha. That's fantastic. Yeah. Anything else, Samantha, before I jump to Sean? Never. Something about don't rely on just a handshake deal. Have
big
a
one.
Contract, have it documented, because he was able to profit. A lot of this was able to happen because we kind of had a word of mouth or a handshake deal on this stuff instead of an actual contract.
That was shocking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's that, to do any deal based on a handshake. I see what he was doing.
It's more shocking because I don't think it's like something that in this day and age where, you know.
Right. Exactly. And maybe, you know, McDonald's is probably a case study for that, isn't it? Of why you should never do business based on a handshake, that we can never, as entrepreneurs, do anything without having a solid contract and even what's called like an exit strategy, you know, is how are we going to exit this business, you know, and that's a big one, I think, is the whole handshake thing. I think that shocked a lot of people, you know. I think those are great takeaways, Samantha. It's fantastic. How about you, Sean? I know you probably had about 40, but if you had to narrow it down to 3, what were your top 3?
I want to hit on what Samantha said last. Like the McDonald brothers, I think, were set in their ways, small town guys. That the verbal handshake thing. Like back in the day, if that's just what they did, you know, it was they took your word. And Ray Kroc, that lawyer he got was when he took it to the next level. When he was in the bank when he had his house after his wife found out about the mortgage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remortgaged the house, and he's sitting there, and that banker's like, "No, we're not extending your credit line." And the guy, that lawyer, was sitting there, and he heard him. That was a key turning point, I think, in the company, in the whole movie, when he got that guy. And you know, in business, you need a great lawyer, you know, a great team to keep all those contracts, no holes, no cracks. And that's what we found out with the McDonald's brothers. They trusted and had too much faith, I think. Okay, I get that. But in business, man, business is business. It's cutthroat. It's ruthless. There is, you know, it's like playing basketball. Michael Jordan would go on the court and he hated your guts for 40 minutes. But afterwards, he's partying and playing poker with you. So that's why I always say never get in business with your friends, is because it'll never work, right? And I wanted to say, like, his vision. He had a vision, and he never, ever shied away from that. He stayed true to himself. He stayed true to his ideas, his perseverance. So, like you said, 1,000 no's, as in Colonel Sanders' story. If he would have quit at $9.99, KFC wouldn't be KFC. So that's why you have to keep going. I'm reading a book right now called Life Starts at 40. I'm 40, and I'll be 41 next week, or this week, actually, in 4 days.
That's great.
But, so I feel better now than I have ever in my life, even when I was 21, you know. So these guys' story are very inspirational. As I was watching this movie, man, I was so inspired. And then his innovation, right? The Instamix, right? No one believed in him but himself. In the end, at night, when you lay down to go to bed, it's just you, unless you have your wife, and, you know, your significant other. But it's you. Tomorrow, it's just going to be you. If everybody else fails you, you still got you, man. That's why believing in yourself, having high self-confidence, and we saw that in Ray Kroc. In the end, it was, I don't want to say cocky, but when he was doing that speech in front of the mirror before he was going to go see Reagan, my God, that was so powerful. It was. And so he was 52. I'm 40. So that's inspiration in itself. Look at Tom Brady. He's 44, winning Super Bowls. I can never quit, man. I can't quit. So I have to be the best I can be. And Ray Kroc I'm so blessed to be able to watch that movie. It is one of my favorites. If he didn't get an Oscar, he should. But the innovation, so the all paper and plastic, when he did that, you know, he was all about efficiency. Obviously he got that speed routine from the McDonald brothers. But then he restructured the menu and made it simple. He forced you, almost the customer, to buy what he would, milkshake or a Coke, a fry, and a burger in the beginning. And then what I never knew about McDonald's was his real estate company. They're the largest real estate holding companies in the world today. I never knew that. That's amazing. So with that lawyer, man, I don't think McDonald's would be what it is today without that lawyer. I don't think Ray Kroc would have taken it to the next level. Maybe he would have. We don't need to question it because it is what it is, right? They're on every block in any city of the world. They're in every country, every continent. But I was fascinated, man. But then I want to hit on another thing that I just now thought of that I knew this whole time, but it just hit me. The love story and all this. So his wife was very supportive, but then obviously he was a workaholic, right? Never, always on the road. She kind of didn't give up on him, but, you know, when he met that guy, that restaurateur, the guy in Chicago or Minnesota, and his wife that was playing the piano, she inspired him. And when he saw her with the idea of the Instamix at dinner, and he drank that milkshake, and then they show him having that conversation in private, each of them, they fell in love, right? Yeah. And then they lived till he died in 1984. They were married, happily ever after. I think you need somebody. I was just thinking, like, your significant other has to be all in with you, man. And they should inspire you. They should keep you going. They should always have your back. We saw that with that relationship. And that guy knew it. When he saw Ray Kroc staring at her from the dinner table while she was playing the piano, he knew it was a matter of time. And then his friends even saw, like, man, they're going to be together at some point. I read that.
That was a powerful scene, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was amazing. That movie was, I'm surprised I never heard about it, but my God, it's very fascinating. And it's inspiration, man. Just to never give up on your dreams. Always keep going. Yeah. Even if the world doesn't agree with your idea, don't ever discount yourself. Just work towards that dream. Anything is possible, man. Yeah. And, I'm blessed to have been able to be a part of this. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Oh, no, absolutely. I'm glad that you, Sean and Samantha, liked it so much. It's funny because, I can tell you, I mean, I could watch the movie tonight again if I wanted to. I could watch it over and over again. I don't know why. It's just, I never get bored of it, but it's interesting, what you were saying, Sean, earlier is that, McDonald's, because of that one gentleman, I think he plays a part on, he's one of the characters in The Office, but he played a great role in the movie. When he said to Ray Kroc that he goes, "You're not in the hamburger business, you're in the land business," and you're right. That's what changed everything, right? Because McDonald's, right, they're in the land business. When you look at their balance sheet and you look at what they own in assets in terms of land, that changed the whole business model, didn't it? I mean,
because it was at a point in his life. That's why I said if it wasn't for that lawyer, it might not have been McDonald's, because that was an important life. He was about to lose his house. He was in debt. He wasn't even covering his expenses. Right. That lawyer, when they started leasing the land that they bought the McDonald's on, that these franchisees put their McDonald's on, it changed the game. And now they're the biggest real estate company in the world. I think that's what it said at the end.
I think it said at the end of the movie. Right, yes, I think it did. Because, McDonald's owns, I think they have, and I don't know if they own the land to all of it, but, I mean, I think they're up to, like, 33 or 36,000 units, So, I mean, it's probably somewhere in that area. That's amazing, isn't it? If you take 33,000 and multiply it by an acre or two of land, I mean, it's astronomical, So there were a lot of people that were involved in the whole thing. It's funny when I was thinking of, there was a lot of things I didn't know before until I actually saw the movie. I didn't realize that McDonald's did start franchising the concept before Ray Kroc even came to town. I didn't realize, and if you remember, they had some problems with it. It was called quality control. In other words, their franchisees were selling hot dogs, right, and barbecue chicken, and it was just it was crazy. They just weren't following the rules. So I think they said, you know what, this is just not worth it, But where Ray Kroc took it to another level was he wanted to make sure that the franchisees that he took on did follow the rules. And I guess the mistake he made, right, was that he sold a couple to his friends. There was that scene on the golf course where he was yelling at, he said, "What the hell is this? What kind of hamburger? It has lettuce on it." And they weren't following the system. And the best franchisee it seems like he got initially was, I don't know if you remember the scene where there was a gentleman, he was selling Bibles, and he was selling a Bible in the office.
Oh, okay,
You remember that scene? And then, and then he approaches him and he says, Yeah, he gave him a chance.
I think he reminded him of himself.
Yes, that's probably what it was.
Yes.
And you could take any scene from the movie, by the way, and we could probably talk about any scene for hours, but I think that's probably what happened there was he said, you know what, this is who I need to be going after. You know, in marketing, we talk about target audience, you know, and these guys that he was selling franchises to, that those weren't good franchisees for the McDonald's systems. He needed the average person, you know what I mean? The average, husband, wife, family, you know, somebody who's working really hard but has this tremendous opportunity to make a lot of money if they purchased a McDonald's. And I imagine that if that man was the first franchisee to McDonald's, he must have been worth a fortune, by the time he sold it, you know, and that was great for him. The scene on the tennis court, that was one of my favorite scenes too. I don't know if you remember that, but they had all these young gentlemen and they were trying to create the system for McDonald's, the two McDonald brothers. Yeah. Because that's what McDonald's really was, right? Yeah. Yes, it was like the Speedy system, you know, and that's why, you know, the McDonald brothers purchased 8 milkshake machines from Ray Kroc. Yeah. Ray Kroc, right? He was having a hard time selling these things. He couldn't sell them to the average restaurateur, but these McDonald brothers, they agreed with Ray Kroc's philosophy is the more supply they had, the more milkshakes they could sell, and the more burgers they had, the more that they could sell, and it worked, you know, and that's why they became initially, probably it was his biggest sale, to sell 8 of these machines in one location. But the whole system, you know, of just systematizing it on the tennis court was just I love that scene as well. You know, I thought that was terrific. Yeah, good scene. It was fantastic, Samantha. I've showed that to my students in the past, you know, that I've worked with when we talk about, you know, processes and systems and things like that. It's a great model to show to people, you know. But I think those are great takeaways. If for anyone who's listening to this, again, if you haven't seen the movie, you know, Samantha, Sean, and I would certainly say it's not a waste of time, is it, to watch the movie? I mean,
definitely not.
Right? I think everybody can get something out of it, Samantha, from a business perspective or a life perspective.
Different every time. You can watch it again and again and take away something that you didn't take away.
Exactly. It's funny because I feel like watching it again tonight after talking to both of you. You know,
like
what I
mean?
said,
and then we can have this conversation tomorrow.
Right, and it'll be a totally different conversation, and we'll pick up something else. You know,
different scenes.
Yeah, it really is classic. I would love to be able to show it to my students in the classroom, but you know, there's copyright issues and things like that, of course. But you know, but nevertheless, I mean, it was great. So I was so happy, you know, that both of you, you know, decided to participate in this. You know.
Coming up in segment 2, we're going to play a clip from our interview with Maureen Recalde, the winner of the Voice of McDonald's, and that's coming right up on Franchise Interviews.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 8 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919. Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Point, and I mean, how did you even get involved in music, Maureen? I mean, I always, I think as people, we all want to be rock stars one day. You know what I mean? And we all want to be able to sing. And all of us tried singing in the mirror or the shower, and it just doesn't work. But you have that talent. I mean, did you know at such an early age you wanted to sing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been singing since I was 3 years old, so it's been quite a bit of years that I've been singing. And really, it all kind of started with it was out of nowhere, really. I just started singing one day, and my family heard something, and they have been supportive from day one. I mean, my mom has been such an incredible role model to me, and I guess I can go a little bit into the McDonald's story. You were saying
I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, you were saying that I put 100% into everything I do, and I think I owe a lot of that to, working at McDonald's and really starting off right. They really teach you the fundamentals of working, the fundamentals of life, and so I owe a lot to that company. But anyway, I guess a little bit about me. I'm 26 years old. I've been singing my entire life, and I guess that's really almost what I'm known for nowadays.
Right.
I was just chosen to sing the national anthem at the Kaplan University graduation in a week.
I'm so proud of you. That is wonderful. I've seen your rendition, by the way, of the national anthem. I mean, it's amazing. It's not the first time you've sung it, and it's just so inspirational when you hear you sing it, So I'm so happy that you're the one that gets to do it. I've been to those graduation ceremonies, and it's always, it's even, sometimes I even think it's more at Kaplan University because, as you know, we have a lot of students in the military, so it's always very emotional, when someone sings the national anthem at our graduation ceremonies. You see a lot of people crying, and when they hear your voice, they're going to love it. So, I'll have to watch it on video this year, but that's okay. I'll get to watch the live version through the internet. So that's fantastic.
Definitely. Well, yeah, I definitely know what you mean. Every time I sing that song, I'm emotional because there's so much meaning to it, and especially for the veterans that, we have in the students that have served in the military. It's an honor to be singing in front of them and even to be in their presence. So,
absolutely. Your mom was involved in McDonald's too, wasn't she, Maureen?
Yes. I can go a little bit.
Maybe that would be interesting because, I know she's been working with them for some time now, hasn't she?
Oh, yes, she has, definitely. And so when people ask me, how long have you worked at McDonald's, I say, technically and legally, I've been working since I was 16 years old, I guess.
That's great.
I know I was in the restaurant, I think when I was about 2 weeks old. My mom brought me in because she has been in the McDonald's system for almost 40 years now. That was her first job. She grew up in New Jersey, in Bayonne, New Jersey, and that was her first job, and she went and got it, and she's just been amazing at it. And obviously she's had incredible success because she worked herself from a crew member to being an owner-operator of 2 franchises in Southern California. So it took her across the country, and she's just, I don't know, she's just been so good at her job and so good at raising children. I have 2 siblings, and we're just all, we have so much ambition because she really instilled that in us from such an early age, and I learned so much from her, and I learned so much from her career at McDonald's and listening to her speak about it. It's incredible. It really is.
That's fantastic. I didn't realize your mom was from Bayonne, by the way. I mean, I've lived in New Jersey actually most of my life, so I'm very familiar with Bayonne and the Bayonne Bridge. It's such a beautiful bridge. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to see it, but Bayonne in the old days, that was
quite often.
Yeah, that was the place in the old days, where the ships used to come into the docks and everything like that. So that's fantastic. We're going to have your mom on the show, by the way, too. Because
she'd love that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us don't know, what it's like to, work within a McDonald's. And, I've been hosting this show, and it's like approaching 450 interviews. And I can't tell you how often McDonald's comes up on the show or something. McDonald's, because it's probably the most sophisticated franchise system on the planet Earth. I mean, it's a great story how they started and where they are today, and they wouldn't have been able to get that far if it wasn't for franchising, because now I think they're up to 33,000 restaurants, or in 119 different countries. I mean, that's incredible, isn't it? You hear that?
It really is. It's amazing.
It's something. And then they had this great contest, that you made me familiar with, the Voice of McDonald. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, because I thought that competition was amazing. It kind of had similarities to maybe an American Idol or The Voice or something like that, which is becoming very popular today. But the competition's pretty intense, because if every employee at McDonald's is eligible to enter, I guess that's 1.7 million employees you compete against. So it is pretty intense, isn't it?
Oh gosh, yeah. And when I actually auditioned, it was 1.8 million, and I think it's up to 1.9 million at this point. Last time I checked, it was.
Incredible.
So yeah, it is. And so I guess I mean, you did a really great job. I wish that I had the answer when anyone asked me what the Voice of McDonald's is. You just summed it up perfectly. I mean, it's a singing competition for all the McDonald's employees really in the world. And we auditioned. I sent in a video, and I was chosen. I was kind of really surprised when I was chosen, because I live in Southern California, and there's a lot of talent here, and I'm aware of that. And and so that was, I wasn't expecting anything from it, and I think that was the right attitude to go in with. But I had already established relationships with a lot of people in the McDonald's system because of my mom, because I was already a general manager for 3 years at that point, and I had won the Outstanding Restaurant Manager Award 3 years in a row.
That's amazing. So
I'm very proud of that. It's more, that to me is kind of more of an accomplishment than winning the Voice of McDonald's, because it shows that my hard work, it's not just being able to sing, but I've been told that I know how to sing quite well. But being a manager is, especially at a young age, it was really difficult to integrate myself into that role. And I was told that I was doing a good job, and I received recognition for it. So obviously I was doing a good enough job, and so I was, recognized, and I was affirmed that I was doing a great job, and it was awesome. But I guess at that point, when I won the Outstanding General Manager Award, and then I heard about the Voice of McDonald, I just submitted in a video, and I was chosen, and I guess we went to Hollywood to record music videos that the public could vote on, and my community came together just the biggest support in the world, and that also reaffirms the networking that I have done in the past, and just the importance of doing that as any working individual, whatever position you are, if you're a crew member, if you're a manager, if you're a CEO, it doesn't matter. you have to network, and you never know what kind of opportunities are going to arise, what doors are going to open when you talk to people. You just don't know. And the relationships that I've built what really helped me get to the point that I did, and I was chosen to represent the United States. And I went to Florida and sang to 25,000 people, and it was an incredible experience, and so many opportunities have come from that. And I'm so thankful for the support that I received from my community, from my working team, from my mom, from my family all together, and from McDonald's, obviously.
It's wonderful what you just said. I'd love for all of my students to hear what you just said, because I've been talking about this for so long now, Maureen. It's the importance of networking. I mean, it really does work, doesn't it? You know, I mean, you can see how your life's changed, and again, you realize that, networking is so important to just meeting people and making new connections, isn't it? I mean, it's really
definitely.
That's fantastic. And then, we saw the clip, too, there's that great clip of you singing with it looked like some of the others from some of the other countries, Nothing's Gonna Stop Me. I thought that was, and by the way, my son loves that song. He's 7 years old, so he, and I said, here, you have to listen to this, and he's like, play it again, Daddy, play it again, so now he's he's hooked, but it's such a great song. Is that an original song for that? It was.
Yeah, one of the advertising agents, I think, one of the McDonald's people in the McDonald's system has been involved with Voice and McDonald for, I think, about the past 10 years since its existence. And so she wrote that song, and we all sang the song like we weren't together, but they kind of spliced the video together and made it. And that was all the U.S. contestants. It was. So McDonald's U.S. is broken into 22 regions, and so that was our representatives, and then I was chosen out of that group to represent the United States. But I thought that song was really cool because it's a memory that we could look back on and just reminisce about and just have forever.
It's a motivational song, isn't it? It's very inspirational when you listen to it. It's got that nice beat. I've never heard the song before, but it's very catchy. I mean, you hear it once and you like it, So it's really interesting. Who's been like your influences, Maureen? I mean, like, who do you listen to? When
musical influence?
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, I think you already know the answer, but honestly, my biggest musical influence always will be Michael Jackson.
Of course,
I respect him as an individual and as a music writer. I mean, it's not easy writing music, especially, I mean, I don't like to diss anyone in the current music system, but I mean, I feel like music, songwriting as a profession has just degenerated almost, and so I really appreciate music, older music. That's what I technically like. I mean, I really, really love the Beatles. I love Led Zeppelin. I really love the rock bands of the 60s, and I love the 80s, and my mom loves the 70s, so she's kind of like that middle ground. But I mean, I have so many musical influences, and I do have to keep up on the more popular music of today, because that's what a lot of requests I have as a singer, as a performer. They want the music of today, the popular, the hypey songs, and so I know those, and I like those too. It's just musical influence. It comes really from the songwriting and from Michael Jackson wrote the soundtrack of a lifetime, in my opinion, and so I really respect him for that, and the Beatles are very close second.
That's fantastic. It's amazing, with Michael Jackson. I mean, how it doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. I mean, even my son listening to, something like his music, it's timeless, isn't it? I mean, it's just, he's one of those people that just able to, his voice will really be around forever, won't it, I think, because he was just so magical, wasn't he?
Oh, you're like, I have the biggest smile on my face right now.
Yeah, no, he is. I mean, we love Michael Jackson, and we play him in the house, and it's just, I found it fascinating that my son at such a young age likes his music. You know, you just say,
oh,
my
gosh,
God, if
me
you're
too.
90 years old, right, or 7 years old, you know, people still loved him. I mean, he was something else. And you said something very profound for a young person, is that, we find that too, Maureen, is that, the music today is not the same as it was, back in your mom's day, or my day, 70s, 80s. It's just, there's something different about it. I suspect that you get a lot of people asking you if you're going to try out for the American Idols or The Voice. I mean, what do you think of those shows? You probably get that question every day, don't you?
It's yes, I get asked that way too often, I think, and I usually have the same answer. I just say, I think that those shows are great. I think that they definitely serve a purpose. They're a great way to just to showcase a talent, and especially people who haven't been discovered. And I think it's a great venue to do that. But personally, I don't think that I would ever audition for a show like that. I think that the connections that I've made, and the reason why I do it, the reason why I sing, is really not so much for recognition and for popularity and for people to know my name. It's just when I get up on a stage and I start singing and I see faces, that's really just kind of what fuels me, and I don't need to go on a show to validate my, the reason why I do it. So that's kind of what I tell them. It's like, I love the shows. I love watching them. They're really fun to watch, but I don't think I would ever put myself through that, because it's pretty heart-wrenching when you don't get to the point where you want to, and it's maybe, I don't think it's so much fear. I just don't think I want to put myself through that.
No, it's true, and you have your niche in the market now too. Here you are, one Voice of McDonald's, which, again, if you think about it, if you take all the employees that are eligible to try out for it, mentioning 1.8 million, I think you could probably almost stop right there and say, okay, that's enough. That's almost just as big as anything else that's out there. It's just different. So, I think it's a wonderful.
Coming up on segment 2, you're going to hear what every franchipreneur needs to know before buying a franchise. We're going to play a clip from our popular Great Quotes in Franchising podcast right here on Franchise Interviews.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment, and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi, everyone. This is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. Don and I have been hosting Franchise Interviews now almost 6 years, if you can imagine, and it's amazing to see how far the show's come. We frequently joke around that, when we started the show, we started off with about 5 listeners. I think it was my mom, Don's wife, my wife, and a couple of friends and family, and that was it. And, to date, we're over 4,000 listeners on a monthly basis between our radio show and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising, and, of course, our website, Franchise Interviews. So we've never done this before, but want to thank everyone for making this show such a tremendous success. During that time,
6 years of doing the show, we've had some incredible quotes on the show, and if you're a frequent listener to the show, you know what fans Don and I are of the legendary Michael Gerber. And you could take any clip or any segment from an interview we've done with Michael, and it's probably noteworthy of being in the Great Quotes and Franchising podcast, but this, I have to say, is certainly one of my favorites, and I've shared this with my students since I've heard this great quote. So here we go with the legendary Michael Gerber.
Having people stretch their imagination and to dream even bigger than what they were previously doing.
Absolutely.
And make it constructive, of course.
Yeah, because I'm actually saying that people don't fail because they dream too big. People fail because they dream too small. People fail because they don't rise above where their experience would lead them. People fail because they don't truly begin to dare to imagine something that they've never actually imagined before. And as I bring people into the dreaming room, as people participate with me, they begin to experience something they have never experienced, or if they had experienced, they'd experienced it years ago, but in some way lost the ability to dream. So it's a remarkable thing. I never would have told you I'd be doing it, but in fact I see it as the absolutely essential piece to anybody who wants to do anything, let alone buy a franchise. The beginning of that process is to dream.
It's really like an awakening. I mean, in life there's just so much that can just, I guess sort of beat you down a little bit. Life's not easy, and there's work, and there's family, and I guess over time that maybe you just don't have the time or just forget about something simple like dreaming. So you're really just reintroducing it to people, kind of waking them up again, so to speak.
Well, I'm reintroducing the question, what in the hell am I here for?
Right.
What is my life? And time goes on for all of us, and it's tick-tock, tick-tock, and time goes on, and I simply become immersed in all of the doing it that I've committed myself to. And I never stop to really ask, is this really what I want? Is this really what I want to do? Is this really the entire purpose of my life? Is this really going to give me the experience that I truly am hungry for, the joy that I truly am missing right now? What in the world am I doing with myself? And I'm simply suggesting, without asking that question, in a very, very provocative way, people miss the most extraordinary opportunities that they will never see until they begin to ask the question, then who am I? What do I want? Where am I going? And these questions begin to provoke some very, very serious introspection, and that's critical for anybody who is, as you say, sitting there about to think about going off on their own, about buying a business, about buying a franchise, or about creating a business of their own. Critical, and nobody's talking about it.
Right, absolutely, yeah. So it's a critical element to entrepreneurial success, Michael. All this dreaming, I think you mentioned in the manuscript, it gives you fuel to stay up late and get up early in the morning.
That's where the juice comes from.
Absolutely.
I mean, can you imagine Michael Dell creating Dell Computer? I mean, you think about that. He was a college student who began to diddle with this idea, the big idea, the great idea, the great result, and he created this stunning company, this extraordinary company that does what it does in a way that nobody else imagined it could be done. Taking a commodity, a computer, and turning it into a product, a true invention, the way in which Dell provides customized computers in a standardized process. Customized, standardized, an extraordinary idea that rules the world today. And yet you don't hear that expression in most places. And certainly you don't hear it in franchising. Customized, standardized. How do you do that? Well, that requires entrepreneurial imagination and verve, and that's what creates absolutely stunning companies. So if you're going to do that, you might as well do something in the business you're about to create that truly transforms the form of the people.
Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia. You're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.